How's it going? Blake here, Fly Weld Fab. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the hangar. Today, doing a favor for Dallas over at Single Drive. Sent me these rusted out, rotted out brackets off one of his tow rigs, and also gave me some scrap stainless he had lying around, and this is not in the best condition. It's been plasma cut. I believe it was a water table plasma cutter. And so I'm going to clean up some edges here and see if we can't shear this. It might be a little too heavy for me to shear, but we'll find out. So before we do anything, we need to come up with a plan. So I already took some measurements. I have OD measurements on everything. I call outside dimension, outside diameter, whatever you want it to be. So we have 8 7/8, basically by 5 5/8. We start transferring that around. I need 5 1/2 by about 8 3/4 to make this general shape. I got my measurements. Let's see if I can't shear this in my little 3-in-1 shear. All right, couple days have passed. Got busy, sidetracked doing something else. But when I was here last, camera died, microphone died, step bit died. So I said, screw it, come back another day. So here's where I left off. These guys are laid out, center punched. Here's center punched, one's drilled, step bit died there. Went and bought a new step bit. These are expensive, I will say that. But these Walter brand step bits are the best in my opinion. So let's drill some holes, and then after which I'll connect them, zip cut them out, and it's just a couple bends, a couple welds, and then this baby's done. But first, before we bend it, we're gonna clean it up a little bit. We're gonna clean up that grain structure. All right, so the step bit was actually working pretty good, but I switched from my drill press to the drill just because the drill press, I can't slow it down enough, and I didn't want to burn this one up that I just bought. So you have to hold on real tight because, man, she was catching in this stainless steel. So that's why I switched to the mag drill. I actually forgot I have a mag drill, so pretty fortunate problem, but the magnet was strong enough to somewhat grab onto the table through the stainless. I just had to hold it, and then I had to actually pre-drill a small hole for the pilot bit to go through, and that just held it enough where I was able to get that. So these holes are drilled, okay? Material's kind of bunged up, a couple big scratches in it, but I mean, like, best that I got to work with right now. Ideally, this would be sheared and these would be punched with a hydraulic punch. Well, actually, ideally, it would be lasered and it would be 4 bends and I'd be done. Working with what I got here, so holes are drilled. I'm gonna connect all these lines and then I'm gonna zip cut these. After they're zip cut, then I'm gonna clean everything up a little bit. I'll run some Scotch-Brite pads over. I've got a bunch of different little things to clean up stainless. So I'll pre-clean it. This is what it looked like before, this is what it looks like after. So the tool I'm using is just a standard corded drill. I bought this when I was a second-year apprentice, many years ago. And this is just an 80 grit, 2-inch Walter flappy wheel. This is what they call a 2-in-1. So it's a flappy wheel with Scotch-Brite in there as well too. These things are awesome. You know, simple little things that you can have relatively cheap and run in just a standard drill. The reason I like the corded drill, it was cheap. It was 60 bucks. It has a good high RPM and I don't have to change batteries. This drill has basically only been used for this task. I don't really drill holes with it. I just clean up stainless and other materials with it. When I bring you back, these pieces will be ready to get bent. All right, so the other side is cleaned up now too. Okay, so now I just need to remark out my lines with one of the 18 Sharpies I have lying around here. Little lines. 2 1/8 on this side. And I really hope that my little press brake will bend this. Otherwise I have to go somewhere and bend it. Oh, right on. Actually looks pretty good, except I'm just going to have to take a little bit of bend out of here. Keep it relatively even, and then this overbend should relatively match this under. When we say over or under, generally we're just talking about 90 degrees. We got our bodies broke up. I'll have to do a little bit of cleaning in here from the railroad tie / anvil. And now I just got to make up 4 sides and weld them together and we're done. Okay, so laid out the sides and had a look at these and I realized I messed up. I don't know what I did. They're supposed to be 5.5 and they're 6.5. So maybe I did the old 1 inch back. Not sure what it is, but it ain't nobody's fault but mine. And I don't have enough material to remake them and I don't want to re-drill these holes and zip cut this shit out. So what I'm going to do is fix it. I'm going to fix it, I'm going to weld it, I'm going to hide it, and it's going to look just fine after I'm done anyways. So let's see how it turns out. Okay, so I have it clamped up here. There's aluminum underneath, aluminum on the side, and the gap is around 5/16 of an inch. I have my welder set to DC negative for stainless. I'm not worried about any pulse or anything like that. You can do some pulse if you want, and about 90 amps. I'm going to put a bunch of tacks down on this, and I'm not even going to use fill rod unless I absolutely have to. There's a tiny little gap there, which I will have to use fill on, but other than that, it's pretty basic. This is a way to weld flat seams for stainless steel. It comes out really smooth, really simple, and there's not really any deflection or anything like that. So I'm going to finish getting set up and do some welds. So now what I'll do is I'm just going to kind of two-hand on the torch here, give it a little bit of more inclination at about 90 perpendicular angle. Don't be afraid to let that puddle wander out to the aluminum. And have a look at the back here. So now you can see I actually have good penetration without any fill rot. Seems crazy, but it works. So what I'm going to do is kind of change up my order of operations on how I was cleaning this stuff before. This is just a stainless steel wire brush. There we go. So it already looks pretty good. Just a bit of hammer and dolly work. This is 80 grit. It's 5-inch diameter on a 4.5-inch grinder. Works quite well. Okay, well, it's the next day. Came back out, got a little bit of work done. Welded the other one back together, cleaned it up, blended out the welds. You can see it's welded on the back side, welded on the back side. So, also got my end caps bent up too. They just need to get welded on the sides here. That's backwards, but it'll look something like this. I'll do that, and then I'll fill in corners. right, well, they are basically done. Welding's done. The outside is all welded up. And I welded these corners on. Some people might be asking, why didn't you 45? Well, limited material, and I'd have to add a whole extra 1.25 inches to my cut size if I added the 45s. So I just went with the corners there. But something that I like to do with the corners is, you'll see I actually cut it a little bit bigger. And then that way, after I grind it off flat, it just gives an actual real straight finish. Oops. So you only add like a 1/16 of an inch to either side, weld it out, grind it down, make it nice and straight, and yeah, it'll save you a lot of hassle in the future doing something that way. So now all I have to do is clean this one up so it looks the same as that one. Remember, we're making a left and a right because it's truck, and then this one's going to be done. Okay, well, that's it. A little bit different than what I started with. We call it good enough. So I'd just like to thank everybody for watching. If you made it this far, if you can do me a solid, just go ahead and click the thumbs up, and thanks for watching. Oh. Next time, see if we can't make this a cigar ashtray for a friend of mine.